1, 2, hey, hey, hey. Hey, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, hey, hey, hey.
真佛中美国彩回藏寺地藏王菩萨护摩法会开始，与会大众虔诚合掌，恭迎真佛中创办人无上法王圣尊莲生活佛，与会大众唱诵莲花童子心咒。
Today, here at the Rainbow Temple in North Bend, Washington, on December 5th, 2021, our lineage root guru, the founder of True Buddha School, His Holiness Living Buddha Lian-Sheng, is presiding over Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva Homa fire offering ceremony. Now let us all stand up, join our palms to welcome His Holiness to enter into the Homa hall and chant the root guru mantra.恭请师尊以布道展示品接受众线上的众弟子问安。
加你好，加你好，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，我们爱你，爱你，好想你，我爱你，好想你，好，健康快乐，我爱你，自在，真理，我是谁？自在，
恭请法王圣尊莲生活佛升法王座。
We would like to extend the invitation to His Holiness to ascend to the Homa throne. We are inviting everybody to please take the seats. His Holiness Living Buddha Lian-Sheng to bless the prayers of the primary supplicants. The offering of Hatha. We are inviting Master Lian-Chu to present the offering of Hatha to the lineage Guru as a symbol of the highest honor on behalf of all of us. Fire offering ceremony has now begun. Visualize two Buddha lineage. Namo Vajra Buddha, Namo Buddha Lokana, Namo Amitha Buddha, Namo Padmakumara, Namo Living Buddha Lian-Sheng. Visualize Grandmaster and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas radiating light to bless us. Recite Padmakumara mantra 7 times.
Om Guru Lian-Sheng Siddhi Hom. 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 Om Guru Lian-Sheng Siddhi Hom.
Perform the visualization of the four immeasurables, ancestors and relatives from the father's side on your right, from the mother's side on your left, friends and teachers behind us, enemies and karmic creditors in front of us, sentient beings around us, together practicing tantric dharma and ultimately attaining Buddhahood. Clap twice and snap your fingers to awaken the deities. Recite purification mantras and the deity mantra.
Om Shivdori Shivdori Shivhori Shivhori Soha. Om Vajra Hom. Namo Samanto Modoran Om Duru Duru Deve Soha.
Recite invocation mantra.
Om Soha. Om A Hom Soha. Om A Hom Soha.
We sincerely invoke our lineage Guru, His Holiness Living Buddha Lian-Sheng. Namo White Maha Padmakumara. Namo Lotus Light Self-Mastery Buddha. Namo True Buddha School Lineage Gurus. We sincerely invoke the main deity of Homa. Namo Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. We sincerely invoke the main deity of Homa. Namo Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. We sincerely invoke the main deity of Homa. Namo Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. Namo Golden Mother of the Primordial Jipon. Namo 5 Dhyani Buddhas. True Buddha School 8 Primary Deities. Namo Yamantaka. Namo Akalanata. Namo 4 Heavenly Kings. Sama Bodhisattva. Rainbow Temples, all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Herukas, Dhammapalas, Dakinis, and divinities. All the deities enshrined at the True Buddha Tantric Quarter, at the Seattle Leisang Temple, and at the South Mountain Retreat. Rainbow temples, mountain god, earth god, plant god, wind god, water god, heavenly fire god, dragon gods, and all divinities, as well as the city gods, to please radiate light and bless this Homa. Great homage using visualization for student Guru and all Buddhas. Visualize for prostitution on the ground, release the mudra. Second to all Bodhisattvas. Visualize for prostitution on the ground, release the mudra. Third to all Herukas and Tower protectors. Visualize for prostitution on the ground, release the mudra. Fourth head bow. Create mandala offering from the offering mudra. Visualize the transformations of the offerings to become innumerable to fill the whole cosmic space. Make the offering above to the lineage root guru, all the lineage gurus, the main deity of Homa, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. And all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Herukas, Dhammapalas, Dakinis, and divinities, and below to all sentient beings. Recite the offering verse and mantra. Mount Meru, four continents, and sun and moon transform into precious offerings for the Buddhas. Make these wondrous treasures and merits purge our karma to all of our civilization. Om Sarva Tathagata Itamu Gurunana Mechana Kandiniye Tayami. For full refuge, visualize our lineage root guru, all the lineage gurus, the Buddha jewel, Dharma jewel, Sangha jewel, to form bright white light to empower us. Set the mantra. Namo Gurupe, Namo Buddhaye, Namo Dhammoye, Namo Sankhyaye. Namo Gurupe, Namo Buddhaye, Namo Dhammoye, Namo Sankhyaye. Namo Gurupe, Namo Buddhaye, Namo Dhammoye, Namo Sankhyaye. Armor protection. Form Vajra Club's mudra. Recite Vajrapani mantra 7 times. Om Boyulanzali, Om Boyulanzali, Om Boyulanzali, Om Boyulanzali, Om Boyulanzali, Om Boyulanzali, Om Boyulanzali. Inviting His Holiness Living Buddha Lian-Sheng to perform blessings with mala. Inviting His Holiness Living Buddha Lian-Sheng to set ceremonial dedication to bless the registration forms, Homa cards, and all the offerings. Stand up and join your palms with reverence. And together we are inviting His Holiness to perform the ritual of opening the Homa fire pit, to lit the Homa fire, to make all the offerings, and to perform mudra transformations for purifications and rituals, magnetization, subjugation, and part of deliverance. We are inviting the assembly to please chant the heart mantra of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. mantras of the eight principal deities and incarnate Buddha Amitha.
Om Padnamo Ling Soha. Om Ha 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 Wei Samoye Soha. Om Zeli Zuli Zunti Soha. Om Jambhala Chalung Chalaye Soha. Om A Hom Beza Guru Bema Siti Hom Se. Om A Hom Guru Be A Sasamaha Lian-Sheng Siti Hom. Diata Om Bekazia Maha Bekazia Naja Samo Kade Soha. 南无36万亿11万9500同名同号阿弥陀佛。南无36万亿11万9500同名同号阿弥陀佛。南无36万亿11万9500同名同号阿弥陀佛。
Supplication to the Buddha Guru to stay in the Saha world. I pay homage and supplicate His Holiness, the virtuous and marvelous Tantrika, all Buddhas of the 10 directions, compassionate Bodhisattvas, Herukas, Dhammapalas, and Dakinis, protectors of Dharma. The nights are long, the 3 poisons are proliferating. My body and soul are stricken, tumbling in the misery of perpetual rebirth. With great compassion, His Holiness came to this world to salvage the deluded ones. 3 jewels emanate wondrous light, provide refuge for all. All fortunate beings, humans, and Deva relies on His Vajra body for the bestowal of teachings, vows, precepts, empowerments, and attainments. We disciples of Buddha plead that you stay in the Saha world to turn the Dharma wheel, to benefit and give happiness to multitudes of sentient beings. At a dedication, may all uphold the Buddha, ascend to the realm of utmost bliss, repaying fourfold generosities from above, aiding those in the 3 realms below. Upon seeing the Buddha, may we transcend life and death. Like the Buddha, may we liberate all. True Buddha school disciples wholeheartedly pray to the main deity of Homa today. Namo Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, the merciful vow Vajra. By the majestic power of your bright pole, to bless our lineage root Guru with great health, robust energy, high spirit, always useful and joyful, harmony, love, respect, and fulfilled resources, to live a long life in samsara, to turn the Dharma wheel, always accompanied by the great, powerful emissary to guide sentient beings to the other shore. Inviting His Holiness Living Buddha Lian-Sheng to perform the overall merit dedication. Wholeheartedly we pay homage. From the Cui Pure Land, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, the savior of the nether world. Wholeheartedly we pay homage to the Cui realm in the south, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, the savior of the netherworld. Wholeheartedly we pay homage to the Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva of the Cui Hui realm in the south, the savior of the netherworld. By your authoritative staff, please open the gates to hell. By your bright pearl, please radiate light to eradicate the karma of sentient beings of the 6th rebirth realm.
之大小事闻声
Please
救
provide salvation upon hearing big and small problems.
接引
By the 5 Buddhas above you, guide the Bardo spirits with affinity, the Bardo spirits without affinity,
清净佛国
to be reborn into the pure Buddha land.
情以智慧之慧眼
By the wisdom
观照世界
of the Wise One, please observe the world. 安忍如大地 Benevolent like the great earth,
生命如珍藏
and like the storage,
度如上下
intensely to salvage
六道众生
sentient
业
beings
障除
in the 6th rebirth realm, and may their karma be eradicated.
南方翠微世界
Of the Cui realm in the south,
教主
the savior of the netherworld, Ksitigarbha
天
Bodhisattva,
生
gods in heavens, gods on earth,
人离难
may be far from all calamities, may all calamities abandon us, let all disasters turn into dust.
愿所祈求
May all of our prayers be granted.
让瘟疫退散
May the pandemic disappear.
新冠病毒退散
May coronavirus disappear.
一切恶缘退散
May all bad affinities disappear.
一切烦恼退散
May all afflictions disappear.
四魔退散
May the 4 maras disappear.
问
We say 100 syllable mantra 3 times.
สัตโตอาหมเพอมเปจะสัตโตสัมมายามานุปานายาเปจะสัตโตเตนุปานิชาจะโจเมปาวาสุโตคายุเมปาวาโสโภคายุเมปาวาอนุลาโตเมปาวาสาวาสิเมปุรายาชาสาวากามาสุตเมจิตามุสิริยันกุรุหมฮ่าฮ่าฮ่าฮ่าเฮปากาวันสาวากาทากาตาเปจะมามีมันชาเปจะปาวามหาสัมมายาสัตโตอาหมเพอมเปจะสัตโตสัมมายามานุปานายาเปจะสัตโตเตนุปานิชาจะโจเมปาวาสุโตคายุเมปาวาโสโภคายุเมปาวาอนุลาโตเมปาวาสาวาสิเมปุรายาชาสาวากามาสุตเมจิตามุสิริยันกุรุหมฮ่าฮ่าฮ่าฮ่าเฮปากาวันสาวากาทากาตาเป cha pe zama mi man cha pe zhe ba wa ma ha samaya sa do a hom pei. 做观想大礼拜100跟
Great homage using visualization for Student Guru and all Buddhas. Visualize for procession on the ground, release the mudra, second to all Bodhisattvas. Visualize for procession on the ground, release the mudra, third to all Hedukas and Dharma protectors. Visualize for procession on the ground, release the mudra, fourth Thapa. Recite completion mantra.
Om Brim, Om Brim, Om Mani Padme Hum. 让我们以热烈的掌声感谢根本上师法王圣尊莲生活。
Let's give a round of applause to our lineage Guru for his blessing and for presiding over this Homa fire offering ceremony of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. Now let us join our palms with reverence, and together we are inviting His Holiness to bestow the precious Dharma teaching. Let's pay homage to the lineage Gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao-Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Dzongkhung. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dubdan Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today. From the Cui Hui Pure Land in the south, the savior of the netherworld, Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. Semu, Tanzan Katso, Tutan City. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon, how do you do?
你好，大家好。愛してる。シャレ。オラミコ。ケケロムチョ。すごい。一番。気持ちいい。住民。やび。プリンピティ。こんにちは。那现在呢，通知大家。
I would like to announce for next Sunday, December 12th, 3 p.m. There will be Kalachakra Homa fire offering ceremony. So this deity is is highly revered by the four sects of Tibetan Buddhism. It's a common deity. And the Kalachakra Dharma, we can say, so we can say that it is a great Dharma that's practiced in the Jambhala kingdom. So Tibetan Tantrayana, the Kalachakra ceremonies are highly revered. Only the most major living Buddhas or Rinpoche can perform the Kalachakra ceremony, such as the Dalai Lama or Panchen Lama. And I know Kalu Rinpoche, Gong Tang Chang also have performed the Kalachakra ceremony. As for the rest, in the central region, the Middle Kingdom or China, we don't know of anyone else that would conduct Kalachakra ceremony. Therefore, this ceremony is very rare. And we can also say that it is one of the 5 great Heruka practices. And they are Kalachakra, Yamantaka, Vajra, Chakrasamvara, Guyasamaya. And sometimes in Tibetan Buddhism, they say Vajra, Chakrasamvara, Guyasamaya, Yamantaka, and Mahotara. So some people say it that way. And Kalachakra is highly revered in all 4 sects of Tibetan Buddhism. It's very rare to encounter Kalachakra Dharma. What is the meaning of Kalachakra? It's the great wheel of time. Time is a wheel, and as the wheel of time passes, everything is destroyed. It is similar to what is said in the Vajra Sutra. The wheel of time can destroy everything. Nothing is an exception. Kalachakra's mantra. Om Ha Kamala Valaya Soha. 10 syllables. 10 syllables to represent the wheel of time. Or Kalachakra. That's his mantra. That's what it means. And then the extrapolation would be similar to the Vajra Sutra. So when Sakyamuni Buddha was at the Volchun peak, transformed into Kalachakra and went to the south, the auspicious rice-gathering pagoda, and manifested for King Suchandra of Jambhala. And the King Suchandra brought Kalachakra to Jambhala. So Kalachakra was an emanation of Sakyamuni Buddha, and went to the auspicious rice-gathering pagoda. and manifested to King Suchandra, which brought the Kalachakra to Jambhala kingdom. A very important deity. Someone asked me why Grandmaster doesn't ask all the True Buddha school disciples to become primary supplicants for this deity or all the deities. Because it's the pandemic era. And all industries and fields are shrinking. So if you can become primary supplicants, please do so. If you cannot, you can be the merit holder. That's fine too. But if you can afford to become primary supplicant, then you can. But if you can't afford it, then be the merit holder. That's the Homa for next week. Nowadays, for a tantric guru to conduct Kalachakra ceremonies are done by the great living Buddhas, the major living Buddhas. And in the Chinese-speaking world, it's only Grandmaster Lu. But I don't know if other people also do it. And today we perform Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. He's holding a staff to open the gates to hell, and by his bright pole to eradicate the karma of the beings in the 6 rebirth realms. And by the pet, Ting, is to hear all the problems of the world, big and small. And by his 5 Buddhas crown, to guide all sentient beings to have attainments to the Pure Land. Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva is to continue the lineage of Sakyamuni Buddha. Because in the Ksitigarbha Sutra there was a chapter on the entrustment of the heavenly and human beings and the sentient beings of the 6 rebirth realms to be entrusted to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. And his secret title is Merciful Vow Vajra. And in the Ksitigarbha, one of the Ksitigarbha Sutras, it was written that he manifested many, he had many manifestations, like Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, that they would appear wherever you pray to him. So Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva is also one of Grandmaster Lu's yidam. There were 3 deities that appeared in front of my eyes. The first one was Golden Mother, second was Amitha Buddha, and third was Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. And lastly, we saw the heaven and earth, which is the so-called Indra heaven.
一样有地义不空，誓不成佛，粉身碎。
And Grandmaster too also had the vow to never become a Buddha until hells are empty, and to salvage each and every sentient beings at the cost of his life.
那慈悲喜舍是观世音菩萨的愿。
So, the four immeasurables, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity are the vows of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, and also of all the tantric cultivators. So joy is to give other people happiness, not necessarily for ourselves. We don't. And to eradicate the suffering of others. And you don't necessarily have to get rid of your own suffering. And joy is to persevere. The perseverance to do it without any motive or anything in return, expecting anything in return. And equanimity is to equally save sentient beings and not to forsake them. And you forsake yourself for them. That's how great Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva is. Let me tell a joke.
小明驾照1年考3次都没有通过。
Xiaoming went for a driving test 3 times, but did not pass. The first one, he hit the bicycle on the side of the road, and the second one, he hit the motorcycle parked on this road. And the third time, he hit the car on the side of the road. And the examiner sighed and told Xiaoming that your driving skill has not improved, but your taste has gotten higher because what you hit is getting pricier and pricier. That's comfort words. Mom got the new clothes for Xiaoming. Mom was wearing a new clothes and asked Xiaoming, does this look good? And Xiaoming said, yeah. But you have too much flesh and big waists and legs, so it doesn't look good on you. And Mom said, so from today we all eat vegetables. Let's be vegetarian. Grandma brought her granddaughter to the clinic, a Chinese medical clinic. And the doctor said to the granddaughter, take off your clothes. And the grandma said, oh, doctor, no, I'm the patient. And the doctor said, oh, then just stick your tongue. Now we'll do the Q&A. Question from Malaysia, Lian-Hua Chen-Hua.
顶礼至尊根本传承上师莲生活佛
homage to the lineage Guru, living Buddha Lian-Sheng. In one of Grandmaster's books, you mentioned that the light mantra can be used for bardo deliverance and to benefit the spirits or the intangible beings. That's right, for light mantra. How do we visualize and chant the mantra to bless and purify the soil or the sand? So the question is how to visualize and chant the mantra to bless and purify the sand. Second question, Grandmaster, in your book 148, Power of Mantra, you wrote that one can write the light mantra on a piece of yellow paper and then put it into the lake. Is it because it is water that we need to use the yellow paper? How about if it is for tombs on the ground? Can we just scatter the soil on it? Third question, if you want to help the beings inside a columbarium, how do we scatter the sand or soil that we have chanted on it? So he's using the light mantra to do bardo deliverance, to bardo deliver and benefit the spirits. That's one of the function of the light mantra. So how to visualize? Just chant the mantra. That's good enough. To bless and purify the sands. If you have the power of your qi or vital energy, you can use it to give blessing. If you have yidam, then you use your yidam to bless or to empower it. After you chant the light mantra, you invoke your yidam to bless. That's good enough. Typically, if you have the qi, like when Grandmaster blessed the fool or talisman, this is a true story I like to share. Last night, Simu brought 3 talismans to the South Mountain retreat. I have been telling her to take this food because sometimes she would wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. And for the elderly, the bladder is rather weak. They would wear pampers like babies. As you age, you would be like kids, so you need pampers or bladder pads. So I brought 3 talismans and tell her to take it. So I was giving the blessing, and this is how I did it. And I would point to the talisman. Did you hear something? That's a huge power. And after I blessed the fool, so she was testing it to see the power of the talisman. So right before bed, she drank 2 glasses of water and ate a bowl of mung bean soup. And mung bean soup is a diuretic. It would make you pee. 2 glasses of water and a bowl of mung bean soup, and then went to bed. Usually she didn't do that, so after the Fu or talisman, she's testing the power of the talisman, which is the same as testing me. However, as soon as she lied down, she slept all the way to dawn. She didn't even wake up in the middle of the night, so she returned to normal. Because typically every night she would wake up and go to the bathroom, and sometimes she didn't make it to the bathroom. Actually, only a few steps. As she get up from the bed, that would be her bathroom and toilet. For me, it's rather far. When after I get up from the bed, I have to pass by my sofa and chair and turn into the bathroom for my private use. And by the time I walk back to the bed, I would be wide awake. So the power of the blessing is very effective. If you have Qi, after chanting the light mantra, you bless the sands on tombstone, on tombs, to help the nether, the spirits of the nether world. Or you can use rice and salt. Those are for purification. And by chanting the light mantra, there would be light lit. And then you bless it using the Qi. Or you invoke the Yidam and visualize the light radiance of the Yidam to merge with the light of your mantra, to bless the sands or the rice. Either one's fine. So to purifying sand, rice, or salt and salt. It's okay to use it to help the netherworld spirits. And when you put it into a lake, that's to bless the living beings inside the lake or the spirits inside the lake. They are also spirits in the lake water. Write the light mantra on a piece of yellow paper and put it into the lake. That's right. Is it because it's the water? We use the yellow paper, yes. And we just scatter it on the soil, on the ground, yes. That's fine. They'll be this helpful. And he wants to help beings inside a columbarium. How do we scatter the sand with the light mantra? You can scatter it inside or outside. Outside the columbarium is fine. The purified sand of the light mantra scattered outside the columbarium, and the spirits or beings inside it would benefit from it. or you scattered it toward the columbarium, or you scattered the salt is fine too, or scattered rice. In Tibetan Tantric Buddhism and in Japanese Tantric Buddhism, these are commonly used. Either one was fine. Just by coincidence, last night I give blessings on the talisman, 3 talismans, and she only used 1. Simu had many spiritual responses. One period of time, she only slept for 3 hours a night. And every time I give her a blessed talisman, she would sleep double, which is 6 hours. So it's very useful, very effective for Simu. The second question from Taiwan, Lianhua Sixin. Homage to Grandmaster, how are you? In your book number 51, there's an article on Ragaraja, an article called Vajra Ragaraja Magnetization Practice. It wrote, if a man would like a woman to be interested in him, he can write the word female on a piece of paper and place it inside Ragaraja's hand. And vice versa for a woman, she can write the word male and place it inside Ragaraja's hand. Your wish will be fulfilled. This is a very simple method. We have a statue of Ragaraja at our spiritual center too. Other than that word, do we also need to write our names? And should we put it in his right or left hand? Or both? Can you please explain clearly to benefit the single Dharma brothers and Dharma sisters? So he's very kind. The magnetization practice. If a man would like a woman to be interested in him, write female. If it's a woman interested for a man, write male. And do we need to write our own name? Let's read the article of the book. No, it's not here. Ragaraja magnetization practice. We have 2 magnetizing deities. One is Ragaraja, the other one is Gurugule. Where did I translate Ragaraja? Hong Kong. That was conducted by Master Lian-Teng, right? He prepared a long speech and he continued to read from the script on and on and on, and his partner, Master Lien Miao, told him, stop, and he said, no, I cannot, because my script is it's not finished. So he continued on and on. And the second time, Master Lien Miao went up and told him again, stop. And he said, no, I cannot. And he continued on and on and on and on. And so I only have a few minutes left to talk. I think you can pray a lot of things to Ragaraja. You already write the word female. So can't you just tell Ragaraja the name? Can't you make offering to Ragaraja? So just write the word on a piece of paper and put it in his hand. It doesn't matter which hand. Doesn't have to be left for the man, right for the woman. Just do that piece of paper, and the rest you can make offering and pray to him. And you can just tell him the name of the woman for the man. If the man wants a woman, you write a female and place it in his hand, and then say her name and your request and make offering. That's it. Doesn't matter which hand. Don't always make it complicated. Say on the fingers, is it the thumb, the index finger, the middle finger, which finger, which center? Don't think too much. Don't overthink. And then another question. Which time? Morning, noon, night, midnight, or when nobody sees? Too many questions. Or how big the word should be, or the color. And how about the piece of paper? Yellow, white, black? If you ask like that, it's endless. As long as you have the sincerity, the Buddha can feel it. And you pray sincerely. And say the name of the woman or man that you want. And then fold the piece of paper and place it on his hand. And then make the offering. Don't do it so casually without any offering. So Ragaraja may not be sitting there all the time, but when you make an offering, he can sense it. And then he would come. And then you chant the mantra of Ragaraja silently in your heart. Hom Zatzi Hom Re. At that time, Master Changren used a musical ensemble and played the guitar and chanted Hom Zatzi Hom Re. Do I need to write my own name? If you stand in front of Ragaraja, Ragaraja would know who you are. left or right hand, anyone. Don't ask too much. Like I said, which finger should I place it on? There's no need like that. Please explain clearly to benefit all the singles, true Buddha school disciples. There are many magnetizing method. There's some that uses a fool or talisman. It's a talisman that a beautiful would come by themselves to you. After you draw the talisman, and then you burn it into ash, and then you place it on the path where the beautiful woman walks by frequently, and to let her walk by it, pass over it. There was a monk that a talisman and put the ash on that path and wishing for a beauty, but it turned out to be a pig, a female pig. So every night she would come to his door and howled. The wife asked the husband. Husband was watching TV. The wife asked, how do we pronounce the new mutant? And the husband was watching TV, he was busy, and said, Womekong, which means, I don't have time. But in Chinese it sounded like Omicron. A drunkard went to the winery to interview for a job. And the drunkard was amazing. With his eyes closed or covered, he could tell the proof and also the year of the wines, many wines. And the manager just glared to the secretary, and the secretary knew and brought a cup of urine. And then she said, woman, 23 years old and 2 months pregnant. Everybody was silent. And the drunkard thought he failed the interview. If I don't get the job, then I would say who the daddy is. Then all the bosses in the room sat together, you're hired. It's best not to say it. Otherwise, it'll be done for. Now let's talk about the Vajra Sutra. Subhuti said to the Buddha, World Honored One, it is rare indeed for the Buddha to speak on a profound sutra. I have never heard of such a sutra ever since I attained my wisdom eyes. Lord Honored One, if someone has pure faith upon hearing the sutra, he will give rise to real phenomena. This person will obtain the rarest of merits. Let me talk about the key points, where the key points are. Subhuti asked the Buddha, Lord Honored One, it is rare indeed for the Buddha to speak on such a profound sutra. I have never heard of such a sutra ever since I attained my wisdom eyes. Yeah. Let me end here. Let me stop here. So Subhuti said that he had attained the wisdom eyes long ago. However, he never heard such a profound sutra. So the Vajra Sutra is truly a very deep and profound sutra. Why did he say that the Vajra Sutra is really profound? I had a dialogue with the Dalai Lama. I spoke on the Vajra Sutra with the Dalai Lama, and Dalai Lama told me, he asked me, what is form is emptiness and emptiness is form. How do you explain this? Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Form is no different from emptiness, and emptiness is no different from form. How do you explain this? And my answer was dual execution. You apply both form and emptiness. You utilize both form and emptiness. And Dalai Lama replied, naturally. I met with the Dalai Lama for half an hour and we discussed topics of the sutras. We talked about the sutras. We never mentioned anything about politics and such. I am a religious figure. I only talked to him about Buddhism, Buddhadharma. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is no different than emptiness, emptiness is no different from form. And I said dual execution of form and emptiness. And Dalai Lama said, naturally. Dual execution is form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Form is no different from emptiness, emptiness no different from form. These 2 points. And dual execution is the middle way as spoken by the Buddha. It's not apart from form, it's not apart from emptiness. And they're both intermingled. They're both mutually combined. And Dalai Lama said, naturally. Naturally is, when you see form, it is form. When you see emptiness, it is emptiness. That's what he meant. Actually, naturally, or dual execution are about the same, not that much difference. So we can say that we are on the par. One saying qi and ku, flag. It's about similar. So the Subhuti said this is a very profound sutra. If you understand the Vajra Sutra and then you put it into practice, then you can attain Buddhahood. You can become a Buddha. You can eradicate all of your karma. It's being eradicated here. There is no causes for birth because it's the phenomena of no self. And because there is no self, how can you create any karma? No more karma. All the karma is gone. No self, no human being. Let me ask you a simple question. On the moon, is there good? Is there goodness or badness? Is there good or bad on the moon? No. That would be the correct answer. On the moon, there is nothing. Since there is nothing, how could there be good or bad? No living beings, no humans. How can there be anything good or bad? Hu Ba Si Xiang, also not there. COVID-19 is not there too. Will not be transmitted there because there's nothing to transmit it. Even the virus are not there, no germs. So what is good? What is bad? Nothing. There is no good cause, bad cause, or good affinity, bad affinity, or no causes whatsoever. That is the profound sutra. Something that you never thought of before. No causes for birth and no causes for death. Where do birth and death come from? From karma. Without karma, there will not be any birth nor death. Without bad retributions, you will not have causes for birth. So, when you don't have any good karma nor bad karma, you have no causes for birth. And there would be no results. And no birth, no death. Without birth and death, there will not be rebirth cycle. Everything is resolved. That's the sutra that the Buddha taught. The key point is it is unimaginable. It's unspokenable. There is no karma at all in order to have attainment. Only then you can have attainment, when there's no karma at all. If you have good karma, you go to the heavens. If you have bad karma, you go to the three lower realms. You fall into the three lower realms. If you're no good and no bad, or have half, then you become a human being. If you cultivate spiritually, but you're envious and jealous, then you're an asura. And you like to fight, then you're an asura. So there's a cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. And the karma is unimaginable. And the karma is the profound sutra. It's talking about karma. And Subhuti had attained wisdom eyes. simply said, human beings only have physical eyes, only see the tangible things. That's physical eyes. And Shimu has the netherworld eye to see the yin or the ghost and the gods. One night she saw Grandmaster, you changed. And I said, changed to what? You became a monster. She said, I became a monster. Like I have horns on my head? No. But you have 5 eyes on your face. Oh my God. Human beings only have 2 eyes. But I had 5 eyes. That's a monster. But why 5? A physical eye, heavenly eye, Dharma eye, wisdom eye, Buddha eye. So 5 eyes. And I said, you see them accurately. Because Sakyamuni Buddha brought me to the Se Ju Jing Tian, which is the highest heaven of the Rupaloka. And all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas was watching me, giving me a prize. And there were layers of 5 red cloths that I opened. There were 5 eyes, and they flew to my face. And the other day there were 5 eyes, and that day she saw I had 5 eyes. So really, Simu saw my face had 5 eyes. So she was amazing. She could see my 5 eyes. So Subhuti had attained the wisdom eyes long ago. But he never heard of such a sutra, like the Vajra Sutra. He had never heard of such a sutra. So Sakyamuni Buddha spoke on the Vajra Sutra. At that time, many disciples heard it. But the one that can understood, comprehend, and know is that you don't do any karma at all. You don't create any karma at all. Having no views or phenomena of self, since there's no self, how can you create good karma or bad karma? Even when you perform good deeds, you do it with no self. You don't ask for good results. That's called unconditioned action, unconditioned doing. So when Grandmaster speak on the Dharma and give Dharma teaching, is also unconditioned. I never requested you to follow my teachings or according to what I said. So I often said that I have no expectations. Without expectations, there's no disappointments. I never want to win the lottery prize. So I have no disappointment. Because there's no expectation. So you do without any conditions. That's how it is. You don't expect anything, you just do it. That's the unconditioned Dharma. That is the unconditioned Dharma. No phenomena. then you understand the unconditioned Dharma. No causes for birth, no causes for death. The sixth patriarch said, it's simply, don't think of good, don't think of bad. When you don't think about good, you don't think about bad, that, oh, I'm doing good, or you don't even think about the bad things, and you don't think about the good things either. That's karma. The sixth patriarch was talking about, don't think about good or bad. Then if you understand, you understand. You don't create any karma. So on the moon, what kind of karma do you create? There's no good, no bad. No self there. No others, no sentient beings, and no lifespan. So this example is the most clear. On the moon, no self, no others, no sentient beings, no lifespan. So what is karma on the moon? What kind of karma is there? Nothing. None. Can you train to be like that? No good, no bad. You have no good karma, no bad karma. If you don't have that, then you go into the profundity of the sutra. So Subhuti attained lots of wisdom. What is the physical eye? So Subhuti attained wisdom eyes. Physical eyes are the eyes that see only the tangible things. And what are the heavenly eyes? You see far, all the way to the heavens, to the realm of desire, realm of form, realm of no form, arupaloka. That's the heavenly eyes. See the gods and the heavens, heavenly beings. That's the heavenly eyes. And how about Dharma eyes? When you understand the Buddha Dharma, all the Dharma, you clear and comprehend all the Buddha Dharma. That's the Dharma eyes. And what are the wisdom eyes? Is all the wisdom. You comprehend all the wisdom and knowledge. That you understand all the wisdom. Those are wisdom eyes. What are the Buddha eyes? When you comprehend the profundity of what the Sakyamuni Buddha said, that's the wisdom eyes, including the five wisdoms. The intrinsic wisdom of the Dharma realm, the all-accomplishing wisdom, the mirror-like wisdom, observing wisdom, and the equality wisdom. That you comprehend all the wisdoms, including the Vajra Sutra, the Sutra King. That would be the Buddha's eye. And you realize and confirm it. Can your heart or mind be like the moon, empty and lucid? Then there would be extinction and cessation. So you extinguish all the karma, no birth and no death. So the Venerable Sung Yen, his last verse was that you can discard birth and death. That's the last phrase of his verse. So from that phrase, it showed that he still had birth and death to be discarded. So that's not right. Because if you comprehend the Vajra Sutra, there is no birth nor death to be discarded. And if you still have birth and death, then you're just a human being, because you have a self, or phenomena of self, or view of self, then you still have birth and death. But if you comprehend the Vajra Sutra, you would say there is no birth nor death to be abandoned or to discard. That verse he wrote 4 years before he died. So by the time of his death, he gave it to other people, but there's still a problem in that verse. Because he wrote that he could discard birth and death. That means he still had birth and death, which means he still had the view of self. My verse would only have 3 words. Unrelated to me. Everything is unrelated to me, which is totally empty. It is the moon. No humans, no view or phenomena of self, other sentient beings or lifespan. Totally unrelated. I am unrelated with sentient beings. I am unrelated to self. I am unrelated to others. I am unrelated to sentient beings. I am unrelated to long life or short life. These are the 5 eyes. Subhuti attained the wisdom eyes before he even heard the sutra. He heard it this time. Ever since I attained my wisdom eyes, I never heard such a sutra. Although he had attained his wisdom eyes, he still did not know about the sutra. So this sutra, the Vajra Sutra, is the sutra that destroys everything. No interference. A child wrote an article that by kissing you would get pregnant. When I was young, I thought by holding hands one would get pregnant. And one time when I ate, a puppy came over and kissed my lips, and then the dog gave birth to puppies 3 months later. And I vowed that I will raise them and feed them as long as I have food to eat. And the teacher said, "Very good, you have a good sense of responsibility." Oh, it's been a while, so how are you? How is work and family? And the male classmate said, "No big deal, I just changed several mother-in-laws." Wow, that's amazing. And then he said, no, it's my father-in-law, that's incredible. getting off work. The male teacher called her, Ying, and gently said, "You have anything tonight?" And Ying said, "No," and she's shy. "Are you free tonight?" And then you should sleep early because in every class you're always falling asleep. Yawning. In class, the teacher called on Xiaoming to reply, to train his courage. And Xiaoming said, "Teacher, I don't know. Can you be like a man?" And then Xiaoming thought about it and got up his courage and then slapped the desk and shouted, "No, I don't know how."
这是最新的老公制度，不对老婆耍酷，不让老婆吃醋。
So the good standard for husband, you don't let the wives jealous or envious. Sorry, I missed this one.
老婆化妆要等得。
The four virtues of a husband. When she's putting on makeup, you have to be patient. When she loses temper, you have to be patient. And when she gets angry, you want to coax her.
非常感谢法王圣尊莲生活佛精彩宝贵的法语开示，请大家把各自坐的椅子叠好。 恭请师尊带领大家典礼坛成。顶礼坛成，做观想大礼拜，一拜根本传承上师及诸佛。嗡啊吽，观想顶礼，回天心三印。二拜诸菩萨。嗡啊吽，观想顶礼，回天心三印。三拜诸护法金刚。嗡啊吽，观想顶礼，回天心三印，是平等第七咒。 恭请师尊移步到展示屏，接受众线上的众弟子感恩之心。好，师尊好，所有的同门，请你们到护摩殿正门外排队等待灌顶，请同门。 到护摩殿正门外排队准备灌顶。护摩殿的同门，请你们到外面排队等待灌顶。护摩殿里面不能停留太多人。
辛苦了，尊阿弥在，阿弥陀佛，谢谢你佛，谢谢尊，感恩师尊，
请所有的同门到护摩殿外正门外排队准备灌顶。
喜悦平安保佑我
请大家到护摩殿门外排队准备灌顶，不要停留在大殿，不要停留在护摩殿。
师尊，师尊，爱你，真正爱我的我们的我爱你。你是最棒的，根本传承上去。
非常感谢众线上的同仁，谢谢大家，下周见，感恩师尊，谢谢师尊哦。下周见，谢谢师尊。
爱你，师尊，我爱你。
是受地藏王菩萨法灌顶。 灌顶即将要结束了，还没有接受灌顶的义工同们，请你们来排队接受灌顶。还没接受灌顶的义工同们，请你们来接受灌顶，灌顶即将就要结束了。为什么耶稣？ 热烈的掌声，感谢师尊赐授地藏王菩萨法灌顶。附魔法会圆满吉祥结束了，网络直播到此结束。We now conclude this live broadcast. Thank you for viewing.